Hi everybody, going live again. Oh my gosh, shoot. Hi everybody on here. If you guys can mute yourself, that'd be great. I'm gonna turn my sound up actually. You can still hear me though, right? We're good? Hello everybody here. I gotta get this going. All right. Welcome to Huntington North Campus Life Digital Club Part 2. We're gonna play this while you're waiting.
All you want
everybody. Hi. We've got people on Zoom too, so if you want to go over to Zoom on the link in the bio and just watch it there, you can do that as well. But if not, you can stick around here. So welcome to our second digital club. Hello. Hi, everybody on Zoom. I can see all your faces. There's some people right there on Zoom. And then the rest of you, hi. I miss all of you. Oh my gosh. Macy, I miss you too. I miss everybody so much. So, please feel free to hop on at any time and any place. But I do have some announcements before we get to talking. So what's going to happen is I'm going to do some announcements, and then I'm going to do the normal campus life like talk that we do at the end of campus life. But I'm going to do it right now. And then you guys can either hop off and go about your day, or you can jump onto the Zoom call, and we're going to do our regular group discussions. So freshman girls are going to go with Sarah and Maddie. Underclassmen guys are going to go with Langston and Zach and Pat, and then upperclassmen guys, so on and so forth. Your leaders are going to be your leaders. If you've never done a small group with us or a discussion group with us, you are welcome to still join. We want to give you guys a space to connect and give you guys a space to talk to people and to have social interaction. So please stick around and everything like that. If you have not checked out our Instagram feed and seen, I have a schedule of stuff that we're going to post and stuff we're going to do this week that I posted. So you can check that out next week as in tomorrow. I'm going to do a challenge for everybody. Last week we did a challenge posting a bucket list, and shout out to Hannah Whitney for winning last week. I sent her something random from Amazon and she should get it on Wednesday. So congrats to Hannah. Make sure you guys participate in the next challenge that I'm going to post tomorrow. But tonight, we're going to talk about boundaries. We talked about what was happening last week and talked about how it's easy to blame during a really hard time, and it's easy to blame God and say why would he do something like this and everything. And we ended up just saying God is good, and he's a good God, and he does good things. And if it's not good, it's not God. But tonight we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about taking care of ourselves. Because right now, this is a time where it's really, really easy to not take care of ourselves. It's really easy to to just get out of our routine, to get out of our schedule, and to just spiral into a really dark place sometimes. So tonight we're gonna talk about having healthy boundaries in our relationships. So sometimes when we are in these relationships with people, whether girlfriend, boyfriend, or just friends, or this random person that you met, I don't know, any relationship that we're in, we need to have good boundaries with them. We need to know when to say no. We need to know when to say yes. And we need to know what we can count on people to carry and what we need to figure out how to carry on our own. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm hoping that you guys will stay tuned in. We've got a lot of you guys on a Zoom call, which is really great. So make sure you pop onto there. But I have an example to show you guys. So I'm going to try to do my best at drawing. And so I have my tripod holder right here. Okay. So boundaries, you might be asking, Liz, here we go. Liz, what are boundaries? Well, let me tell you what exactly boundaries are. So boundaries are kind of like, if you guys know me, you know I'm terrible at drawing. Boundaries are like our property line in our houses. And so I'm just going to take it. Okay. I'm trying to make this work. Okay. This is our property line. This is your house right here. This is your yard, and this is everything that is your property, right? If you look outside in your backyard, you see okay, yeah, I have everything within this property line is ours. It's mine, right? And so your boundaries are what's yours. And then your neighbors are anybody that you're in a relationship with. So let's say, this is you, and this is a friend. Okay. And so you are here's your property line, and then you've got your friends right here. You guys are neighbors because you're in a relationship. It's anybody that you're in a relationship with at all. And so what happens is what's yours is yours, and you need to stay in that property line, and what's your friends should be your friends. Now let's say that your friend has a tree in their yard. This is my tree right here. It's a really bad tree. But your friend has a tree in their yard, and they are not keeping their tree up. They know it's dead. They know it's probably going to fall at any point in time. They know that it is not going to be something that will stay up for forever. But instead, a big gust of wind blows, and their unhealthy tree falls into your yard. It breaks your fence, and it falls into your yard with all the branches, all the leaves, all the stuff that comes with it. And how this affects you is that then that neighbor goes to your house and says, hey, my tree fell in your yard. Can you clean it up? That seems silly. That seems ridiculous. That seems like it would be too much to ask your friend, to be asked by your friend, their tree, to clean up their mess that fell into your yard. But what boundaries do is they help you know when to say yes and when to say no. They help you, I hope you guys can see my terrible drawing. They help you see those things. And those overgrown trees in our lives, in your friends' lives, there's stuff like anger issues. There's stuff like lying. It's stuff like the day-to-day annoyances of the world. It's stuff like some emotional issues, being sad, like some of that kind of stuff. Like those are their own trees that they need to keep up and keep healthy in their own lives. And when it falls into our yard, it impacts our life. It impacts our life a lot. And we need to define what those boundaries are. And so the Bible says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And this is from a book in the Bible that is just full of wisdom. It's called Proverbs. And so I'm going to read that again. It says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. So this is something really, really important to hold on to. And we're going to talk about this in our groups tonight, is guarding your heart. So whatever you put in your mind, whatever you put in your body, whatever you put around you is going to flow out of it. I was reading this morning, and in another book in the Bible says you reap what you sow. So whatever you put in, you're going to take out. And so you have to, so if you put in anger, you're going to take out anger. If you put in anxiety, you're going to take out anxiety. And if you keep doing that, your tree's going to get unhealthy and it's going to fall into somebody else's yard. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to learn that. And you have to make sure your friends are taking care of themselves too. And we need to be with with each other. So it determines the course of your life. Whatever flows into your heart, how you interact with others, and all those things, you have to protect that, because it does affect how you move forward in life. It does affect your actions and your attitude and so many things. And I could go on and on about just that verse, but I need to move on. I'm getting ahead of myself. So in the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and John Townsend, one of my favorite books, it explains the importance of healthy boundaries. There are three ways to establish healthy boundaries in your life. So number one is know where you end and where someone else begins. I'm going to say that again. You have to know where you end and where someone else begins. Just like that property line that I showed there. See, a quote from that I'm going to read. Boundaries define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A boundary shows me where I end and someone else begins. See, it's important not to blur those boundaries whenever you're helping or investing in someone else. Make sure that your identity isn't wrapped up in some other person. Whatever happens to them shouldn't also happen to you inside. You have to know where you end and where someone else begins. You have to know how, like, the end of your identity and how that begins with someone else. A really good way, I heard once reading a book called, I forget what it's called. It's by Donald Miller. Pat, what's that called? Blue Like Jazz. No, it's not Blue Like Jazz. Anyway, but he talked about how when we're in relationships with people, it's like there's a mat on the ground, and each one of us are standing on the outside of that mat, and we have one foot on the ground in our own identity, in our own stuff, and then we have another foot on the mat. So we still are anchored and we know who we are, but then we have another foot in the mat, and we're sharing that mat with someone else. And so not only do you have your own separate identities, but you also have something that you share with that other person, whether that's a dating relationship or a friendship or, anything like that, or family members, everything. Like, you have a mat that you share, but you each need to have your own feet on the ground as well. And knowing those things, you have to keep your identity separate. And if that's something you're struggling with, that might be something that you need to figure out and talk about, because if you need help with that, let me know. I've struggled with that on my own. Part number 2. So first we have know where you end and someone else begins. Part number 2 is you are responsible to others and for yourself. Okay, so in the book of Galatians, this guy, Paul, wrote this letter to the people in Galatia. And he said, share each other's burdens. He said, bear one another's burdens. And this is the way of obeying Christ. So the Greek word for burden is actually, it means excess burdens. It means boulders. It means really, really heavy stuff in your life. So heavy that you cannot carry it on your own. It's stuff that weighs you down. They're like the big boulders. They can absolutely crush us. And we should not expect someone to carry those boulders on their own. And that's stuff like a death in the family. That's stuff like a really, really big breakup in our lives. That's stuff that we can't simply carry on our own. Maybe that's feeling deep depression that you just can't get out of. It's those, you guys know what I'm talking about, those big weights, those heavy things that just crush you. And you cannot do it without other people grabbing hold of that boulder with you and helping carry it. Notice I say with you. Everybody's hands needs to be on that boulder to help you carry those things. And not doing that, not helping people through those things, not helping people, reaching out to people when there's stuff that's really, really hard going on in their life, that's just denying what we're called to do as loving one another. But on the other hand, like 2 verses later in the Bible, this guy Paul also says, each one of you should carry your own load. And that does feel like it is like, okay, we're supposed to bear each other's burdens, but also carry our own load. Where do I land in those things? But what they mean by carrying your own load is it means burdens of daily toil. So that just means like stuff, little rocks you would carry in your backpack with you. So it's your attitude. It's the little annoyances of the day. It's your anger. It's like stuff that, you can carry, you should be able to carry on your own. It's the stuff that you need to learn how to figure out and cope with and deal with in your own self. And so when you have those, you need to carry your own load. So many times we blame other people for our anger. Well, you made me angry. It's your fault. Well, that's us giving them our backpack to carry when we need to learn how to carry that backpack ourselves. Yes, they did something, and yes, you reacted angrily to it, but they didn't. You need to carry your own backpack in those things. I hope that makes sense in all of that. I'm seeing maybe some head nods on the Zoom call, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And then the third thing is keep the good in and the bad out. Whatever you're gonna put in, whatever you are, we need to be in healthy community. We need to have people in our lives that are surrounding us, and we need to keep those good in. If we have unhealthy things in our lives, we need to keep that out. What are you putting bad stuff in yourself? Are you looking at things you shouldn't be looking at? Are you doing things with a person that you shouldn't be doing? You need to keep the good in. You need to keep the positivity in. You need to keep the encouragement and the love in. And you need to take the bad out. So the beginning to establish healthy boundaries in our lives can make us feel healthy and make us feel whole. And right now is a time where we need that the most because we are so isolated physically from people. So we have to help each other emotionally be healthy. And so if some of your friends might be crossing over a boundary for you, you need to tell them, no, this is my property line. This is where I end and you begin. This is not your responsibility. This is not for you to carry. And if you're doing that to other people and giving them things that they need to carry, that you actually need to carry on your own, then maybe you should rethink some of the stuff that's in your backpack and what is the difference between a little rock in your life and a big boulder that can crush you. When we do this, we can love each other better. When we do this, we can be really good friends to people. We can have great relationships with others, and we can be whole people. And that's really how we can love selfie in those things. And so my challenge to you guys is do a check-in with yourself. Think of go up to your fence and poke the different parts of your property line and saying are there places that I don't have anything? Are there places where I let whoever wants to walk in, walk in? Are there things that I'm carrying that don't need to be carried? Are my neighbors dropping trees in my yard and I'm cleaning them up instead of them coming and helping me clean those things up? And so that's the challenge for you guys is just check in. Are there repairs that you need to make? Do you have some boulders that you need to ask people to help you carry? But do you have some little rocks that you need to take back in your life too? And ask yourself. And if you're having a hard time deciphering that or learning about those things, man, this is something I am very passionate about and something that I've had terrible boundaries in my life. Growing up, I did not understand what this was, and man, I could definitely feel it. And on the other end of it, I'm not perfect at it, but I am so much of a better friend, so much of a better campus life director, so much of a better person when I have my healthy boundaries in place, because I'm filled with something else other than this frantic taking care of other people. And so, ask your friends how they're doing, help them work through some boulders, but also make sure that you're not taking stuff that you don't need to take either, and especially right now during this time. And so right now we are going to move into doing a Zoom call, and we're going to do some small group discussions. And so those of you that have been a part of our Campus Life group talks before, our discussion groups, awesome. You're going to be able to go with your leaders that you have been a part with and everything like that. And those of you who maybe this is you haven't been able to come to Campus Life for a long time because you've had stuff on Monday nights and now you want to jump back in, jump back in. It's great. This is awesome. We have leaders here waiting to meet with you guys, and I'm here too. And so jump on to this Zoom call and we can have some discussion on all of that. And so the 10 of you that are still watching right now, the 9 of you that are still watching right now, the 10 of you that are still, just kidding, just keep popping around. I want you guys to just hop onto that Zoom call. Danny and Brooke, Campus Life and Brooke have put in the link. So just go to zoom.com and join a meeting, or the link is actually in the Campus Life bio as well. So make sure that you guys can click on that and you can either download the Zoom app or just go to your web browser on your computer, type in zoom.com and type in the room code to do that too. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will do another digital club next week, and hopefully you guys can still jump in on this Zoom call for some really good discussion. And I look forward to seeing all of you later. Love you. Bye.